feels a bit strange, Father. But now you can see through her eyes and tell her where to go. This is how I brought you back without Mother catching on. Now, first, let's get you out of here.
Okay, so welcome back. This is going to be a playthrough and sort of philosophical playthrough of
through the vent there.
Bioshock 2. This is seen through the eyes of a little sister. And we're going to kind of discuss the morality and the ethics of that you run across during this game. First off, just background for those of you not familiar with Bioshock games, or at least the first two Bioshock games. They take place in an underwater city called Rapture. It was meant to be a paradise, but it's become essentially a fallen paradise. They discovered a rare sea slug there that produced it produced something that could be refined and turned into a substance called Adam, which can affect your genetic makeup and can make you stronger or more powerful or do magic things like start fires or lift things with your mind, that sort of thing. Now, they discovered that if they implant the slug inside of a little girl, they could produce more of this Adam. And thus they created the Little Sisters. They also soon discovered that the Adam itself, these genetic modifications that came out of Adam, were highly addictive. And so to protect the Little Sisters, they created Big Daddies, which is what we're looking at right now. Well, a stylized, or, yeah. Well, anyway, I'll get to the... I'll explain that in a second. Anyway, they created Big Daddies to protect the Little Sisters. Now, the second game, essentially you are a Big Daddy that has been dormant for about a decade. And the entire game is you trying to find your little sister. And as you go along your journey, you have many decisions to make. The basic ethical decision that you have to make is whether to kill or to save the Little Sisters. If you kill the Little Sisters, you get more Adam, and you can become more powerful. If you save the Little Sisters, yeah, you get a lot less atoms, but you save the Little Sisters. And I'll detail, that's Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2, they both have that element. Bioshock 1, that's the only ethical question you have to answer for yourself. And it's actually very, very simple. If you choose to save the Little Sisters, you get the good ending. If you choose not to save the Little Sisters, you get the bad ending. Very simple. This Bioshock 2 is much more complex, because while it has that, it also has a series of ethical problems for you to solve, each one, becoming increasingly complex and harder to make the right decision, although essentially it is still the same basic decision whether you should kill someone or let someone live. Now the twist, or one of the twists in this game, is that you discover that your little sister your little sister, essentially, you're the Big Daddy, whose name is Eleanor, she's been watching everything you've done, and like any child watching her parent, or her father, she's molded her life upon what you have done. Now, in this game, if you choose to kill the Little Sisters, you reach a point where you need an immense amount of power, and if you kill the Little Sisters, Eleanor will follow your example and slaughter any Little Sisters to gain this power. If you have saved the Little Sisters, Eleanor will also follow this example and save the Little Sisters so that they can help her use this machine instead of taking their power for their own. Now, at this point in the game, your consciousness has been put into the body of a little girl. So that's essentially you that I'm looking at right now. Long-winded explanation of, and just you staring at a little body. I'm sorry if that's a little boring for a moment. And the interesting thing is that Rapture normally doesn't look like this. This is very much an idealized Rapture, and it's the Rapture that's seen through the eyes of the Little Sisters. Now, as we go along in our little gameplay, we'll get flashes of what Rapture really looks like. But for now, it actually looks quite good, and I think it was always meant to look a lot like this. And Big Daddies, look a lot different. I'm sure you can look them up and find out, but he essentially looks like a knight in shining armor at this point. So, and the glowing thing is where I'm supposed to be going right now. So I'm going to go around, show you these, the view through the eyes of a little sister, and how it changes, and how she sees the world. I'm also going to demonstrate each of the 3 ethical dilemmas, whether to kill someone or not to kill someone, and how that's perceived by the little sisters, and really how it's presented.
Now, inside Mother's office, there's a way to unlock these chambers she's holding us in. Find a way to slip in there.
So yeah, we're getting instructions on what we're supposed to be doing now. And now I have to say this. We were in this chamber before. It looked completely different. It honestly, it looks very different. And there wasn't a big statue essentially dedicated to ourselves. This is how little sisters see the world. And the interesting thing about this game is it does feel like it gives us hope. Trying to speak. Hope that, not everybody in this place is doomed. That there are people who can be saved, and that the little sisters are indeed worth saving. Not just because objectively you should save children, but just because there is something of value within these little sisters. And the first game really didn't give you that hope. It just presented a lot of horrible stuff that had happened. And it is an interesting and good storyline, but
you're in. There should be a
this
lever
one
in
just
here
gives
somewhere.
you that wonderful.
Pull it, and it will unlock
It
our cells.
presents more hope. I just like it better because of that. Yeah, these are would probably be blood if we weren't seeing it through the eyes of a little sister, but they're flower petals now. We got a little, submarine design. I mean, it's like a child's paradise if you see it through their eyes. So you can go over here, and you can find a few things while you're playing as a little sister. Although I've always found it difficult to get right, so I picked up some dollars to get right at the right angle, but that's just my playthrough.
Attention!
So,
Augustus
more
Sinclair
toys.
has been sighted within the facility. He will attempt to reach Subject Delta. All family duties
Look
are
out the
hereby
windows.
suspended until he is found.
And yeah, we're pretty much at the bottom of the ocean, and it usually looks darker and more like the bottom of the ocean, but looks a lot better from the point of view of the little sisters. So, we just open the
What
door.
Mother did to me left me very weak, or I would do this part myself.
More of the
To save
question.
your life, I'm going to have to change to be like you. From here, you should be able to locate the pieces of a big sister suit. Please, bring them to me.
Essentially, yes, we have to get some suits, some equipment for Eleanor so that she can become a big sister and help us all. So, I forget what's on this diary, so let's figure out what's on the diary.
Eleanor is changing.
Delta
as
is the
Delta
name of
draws
your,
closer.
big daddy, if that helps.
She mutters about having witnessed moments from his journey here. She is beginning to resist the moral conditioning. Eleanor's bond with Delta is turning her from the daughter of the people back into a rebellious child whose voice I do not recognize. Worse, I suspect Eleanor of direct involvement in his return. I fear that to separate them, I may have to take measures for which I will be unable to forgive myself.
So, yeah. So, in the terms of the game, Sophia, who is Eleanor's biological mother, is basically conditioning her daughter to be, basically a perfect human being, and that does as with most conditioning type things, it's usually not that great of an idea. So anyway, let us proceed forward and go up, look at all the fun things. I mean, this looks like a great place to be, honestly. But we have, as of yet, seen all this. Or the real rapture. Sorry. Now this This took me a while to figure out what I was looking at here. Essentially, it is you, as the Big Daddy, saving the little sisters from the sea slugs. Basically, saving the little sisters is what that's supposed to represent. These people, they actually look like normal, wonderful people to the little sister, but Daddy meets Dr. Gilbert. So that's... I'm going to come back to the whole Dr. Gilbert thing, because that's the third and the most difficult of the challenges that you take, or the moral and ethical challenges that you undertake. So we will return to that, but first we're going to head over there. And yeah, Daddy is strong. Yeah, that's a good thing for a child to see. So we're going to come through here. Okay, so one of the things that little sisters also do is they harvest Adam from dead bodies. So basically when a body dies, they still have that genetic goo essentially inside them. And part of Little Sister's job is to pull the goo out of dead bodies and essentially ingest it so it's processed within them, and then can be later harvested and used. So we're gonna come up. She looks like a very beautiful angel. Essentially, an angel to Little Sister is a dead body. So, and this is the real Rapture, and that's a real dead body that we're getting this glimpse into. It's not as wonderful as it at first appears to be, but now we're back to the beauty of this world. So I have to go this way now. And here. I kind of prefer it from the point of view of the little sister. Let's be fair. So that's all good girls gather. So that's part of Little Sister's conditioning. They've been conditioned to gather from little angels. And let's get another brief glimpse. This is what the denizens of Rapture really look like.
Come here, you little brat! Get over here, you!
And, yeah, they don't like Little Sisters. Or they do like Little Sisters, but they value them for what they have and what they crave. So they can be... So yeah, they do need the protection of Big Daddies. So here we are. Daddy meets Aunt Grace. So Grace is the first person you encounter where you have the ethical dilemma of whether to kill her or not to kill her. It's actually quite easy to make this decision to not kill her. What she was Eleanor's caretaker before Eleanor became a little sister. And then Eleanor vanished one day, and she was seen next to you, and at that point you had no real free will, and your only job was to protect the little sister. So when Grace tried to approach Eleanor, you knocked her back and broke her jaw. And she basically... yeah, set up a lot of roadblocks, just made a lot of trouble for you a little earlier in the game because she didn't like you, and when you come in you had a chance to kill her. But ultimately your disagreement was based on misconceptions. She thought you had taken Eleanor away from her when in fact you were as much a victim of what happened as Eleanor was. And so you have the choice to spare her. And that's quite an easy choice to make because it's just a misunderstanding. And indeed, after you spare her, she actually helps you a little bit on your journey. So quite an easy and an obvious, oh, you made the right choice, here's a reward. You don't get anything like that with the next little dilemmas. But let us keep moving on. So, come over here. Lovely little fire.
There's a piece of the suit in here, Father. Find the rest and bring them back to me.
I always like how the suit looks to the little sister. Okay, now it looks like it just normally does, and we can hear just horrible things happening. So we got the sister suit, but now it's all gone. We don't hear all the bad stuff. We see the world as in the best possible light. And that's I think the great thing about Little Sisters is they do see the world
10 years,
and a lot of
Father,
children see it that
stuck
way.
in this fever dream. Mother kept me sedated in order to perfect my mind with Adam. To her, the ideal child is a genius, serving the common good without questioning it. You have saved me from that.
So yeah, Eleanor was being groomed to be the most perfect child, and she sought out, essentially, one person who could help her is her father. And I like that one. That's a cute one. Every day is Dad's Day. Aww. So, here we are. We're gonna have to grab a piece of the soup before we can take a really good look at this first, but that's how it looks. Let's see. Here's a piece of the soup. And we're back in the normal look. So this is Daddy meets Uncle Stanley. Now this is a considerably harder ethical choice to make. So Stanley, when you first meet him, he holds the key to help you out, but he asks for you to do something. Essentially, he's in an area that had recently been completely flooded out, but that you drained because you needed to drain it to get through it. But he's obviously hiding something about it. And as you go through it, you discover that, well, 3 facts. 1, he had actually caused that area to be drained to cover up. He had been entrusted with this area, and he had pretty much misused all his power, and to cover it up, he flooded the area and drowned anybody who might have been left inside of it. Not only that, he is the reason that Eleanor became a little sister and that you became a big daddy. He essentially turned you over to the people who made you that way, just to save his own skin. There's not much that's really noteworthy or wonderful about him, and even Sophia Lamb, who's the main villain, says, hey, I don't care, you go ahead and kill him, he's not worth saving. And yeah, just from a personal point of view and thinking about it, you would feel completely justified in killing him. Oh, and just for the record, I always play through to try to do the best or the most moral thing. That's just the way I play it. So yes, I chose not to kill him, but you know, going through that, once you get emotionally involved with these characters and you feel like it would be very easy to just whack this guy and kill him. But yeah, that's a moral and ethical choice that you must make in this game. Kill or let live. And, you know, just a quick comment on killing or letting live in a lot of these games, the shooters, where a lot of killing happens. That's actually, I consider that to be one of the most genius things that game programmers can do, is to present that sort of challenge to you, because, you know, it's just very easy, you know, to just pull the trigger, and then, because that's what you're conditioned yourself to do throughout the entire game, then suddenly, oh wait, do I pull the trigger or don't I pull the trigger? Type of situation comes up, and it can throw you for a loop. It's a very good, very challenging way to design a game. Anyway, let's move on. We'll get to Gilbert. Alex Gilbert. And I believe
the other sisters are made from me, in part. As they grow up in Rapture, I feel it all. When you were with the little ones, they trusted you as their father, because of me.
So, yeah, always safe with Daddy. So, yeah, that's another interesting thing. The reason that the little sisters were so trusting of you is that Eleanor gave them that ability. So that makes the challenge a little more interesting. Do you abuse it for your own gain, or do you not abuse it? Do you, yeah, take that trust? Are you worthy of that trust? Let's put it that way. So, here we are. We're going to be moving on. See? Hidey hole. Good place for a little sister. Alright, let's see. Okay, here we are. Big sister weapons. So, found big sister parts. So, and yeah. There we go. There's. So, now if I'm remembering correctly, this'll take me to
Mother was right about one thing. I have been watching you, Father, studying the way you have treated others, and now I know who I am.
Yep, like any child, they figure out who they are by seeing who you are. So let's talk about the final one, Dr. Gilbert. This one is one of the more interesting ones because it doesn't seem like there's really a good answer to it. So when you enter into a certain area, you discover that Eleanor wasn't the first person who was experimented on to make the perfect person. Dr. Gilbert was experimented on first. Let's get out of the way so you can take a good look at that. And the initial experimentation completely mutated him, started to mutate him and drive him insane, basically. And when he was still lucid, still sane, and not completely mutated, he left messages for you that allowed you to come in on the condition that you find whatever he's mutated himself into and kill him. But once you find the creature and finally get the creature he's become, he's essentially a massive sea creature now. You're given an option to kill him or basically just let him live in the sea. And he is literally pleading with you to let him live. He likes who he is now and that. So it's one of those strange ethical questions where there doesn't seem to be a good answer. He initially wanted you to kill him when he was this way, but now that he is this... Before he became like this, he wanted you to kill him once he became like this, but now that he is like this, he doesn't want you to kill him. I ultimately chose not to kill him, but it is one of those big questions and that makes you wonder, is there a good solution? Is this the best solution? Because, who you're more loyal to, who he was or who he is. It raises many ethical questions, and yeah, not sure it's a very good answer or not, but I chose to let him live. And maybe that works and maybe that doesn't. So, let's head over to Eleanor, give her the suit, and we're gonna see basically her reaction. And the reaction is pretty much...
I am free. After everything Mother has done to me, I'm alive and sane enough to be curious about the sun. When you rescued my new sisters, I felt every one, and it gave me hope for the first time in years.
Okay. So that's how she reacts for that. And she is in here resting. Give her the big sister suit. And she has become the big sister.
Now, I will do the same for all the others, starting with this one. We've done it, Father. I'll be there soon.
So that is a look at the morality and the ethics of this game. At which point you're rescued and you have to fight your way out and eventually save a lot of other little sisters, and you're finally reunited with
These
Eleanor.
suits always did make me think of you, Father. I guess I still remember you in shining armor. But now it's my turn to fight for you.
Now the thing about this version, this game,
Take
is
this
that
plasmid. You can use it to call me to your
it's
side in a fight.
a great lesson on how to be a parent. It literally is. Because Eleanor is watching you and she becomes what you are. And so, quick look at the moral and ethics of Bioshock 2. And honestly, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the gameplay and I enjoyed the how the ethics are presented to you in this one better than I did in the first one. And yeah, I think it has some good lessons for everybody. So if you're a Bioshock fan but haven't played this one or haven't really gotten into this one, I recommend you get out and play it and, think about what they were trying to do with it and think about the ethics, what you should do and how you should behave. And yeah, so until next time, I will see you later.